Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about you and specifically what it's been like for you growing up as an empath, as someone who's very sensitive, someone who has the ability, and yes, it is an ability, it is a gift, even if at times it's felt like a curse, but the ability to feel everything. I'm speaking to a very specific person in this video, and I hope if it's meant for you, it finds you. This is going to be posted right after it's recorded, so it is essentially in real time. And that timing is important because I'm feeling that there is almost something time sensitive about this message for someone. Like maybe when you get this notification, if you're subscribed, or when you come across this video, maybe it will find you right when you need to hear it most. Because I'm speaking to a very sensitive soul, and I'm hearing you are the only one in your family. So what I mean by this is you were raised in a family where the people around you were not as spiritually open. They were not as sensitive. And I'm getting that from a young age, you may have been very misunderstood. I'm also picking up that you can probably recall how even when you were really young, things have always moved you. Music, art, sunsets, places, people. You've always felt an emotional reaction from absorbing certain things, whether they are beautiful things like a beautiful sunset or scenery, or whether it is grief or sadness or heaviness, even sometimes from people around you in ways that younger you may not have been able to understood. I'm actually getting a lot of your life has been about feeling yourself reacting in ways that didn't make sense to you and didn't make sense to the people around you. Often you may have been told by others, especially adults in your life when you were a kid, that your reactions and your emotions were not proportionate to the situation or to the event. But that was never really the case. That was their perspective. And the thing is, you've always seen things from a higher perspective, even when you were doing so unconsciously. And this has made your life very complicated. In fact, I am picking up that for many of you listening to this reading, at times it's actually made it really difficult to live on this planet, to exist on this planet, because you are someone who has a very pure soul and a pure frequency. And I get that it's difficult for you to understand people who have ill intentions or darkness, negativity in the world, even though you've been through so much of it. And that's another strange and beautiful thing about you, is that you've been through so much darkness, and yet you always see the good in people, sometimes to the point where others believe you to be naive. It's not that you're naive, it's that you have this rare gift of being able to see through to the soul of others. I'm hearing to see to the heart of the matter. And something about you actually connects with people's hearts, even when you're not speaking, even when you're just present with them. You help people to align with a higher version of themselves just by being around them, because you can't help but see that higher version of themselves within them. And yet so much of your life has spent feeling rejected by some of the very people that you care the most about. And I'm hearing that you are someone who has had to say a lot of goodbyes in your life, and it's been very tiring. At this point in your journey, you may be wondering, how many more goodbyes do I have to say? For some reason, there's this energy coming up of you reflecting on past people or connections that you had a strong spark with in the beginning, but that couldn't, in the end, sustain a connection with you. And I'm hearing you have this tendency to pour your heart out to these individuals, to be so open and vulnerable because you have some kind of unconscious awareness, and it is an awareness of truth, that when you open yourself like that, when you're vulnerable in that way, you are giving a gift to others, one that they will never forget, which actually brings me into sort of another theme of your life, which seems to be, while many people seem to be unable to sustain connections with you consistently and long-term, romantically, or even sometimes friendships, because it's almost like they get blinded by your light or overwhelmed by the pure essence of your soul. At the same time, they're never able to let you go. And once you truly give your heart or your love to someone, it sticks with them. And they find themselves returning back to you again and again and again, either in memory, in thought, in those quiet moments of longing when they're alone. And you, of course, being the empathic one here, feel all of that. And the reason I'm sharing this video is because I feel that someone listening is dealing with something very heavy right now. And so it's my goal through this video to provide a little bit of comfort on your path through both validating what you've gone through, but also reminding you of why you're here and the kind of effect that your presence is having just by you being here. So I'm specifically picking up on someone who has been experiencing a lot of highs and lows lately, probably within the last week, where you will have moments of feeling exhilarated, feeling empowered, feeling limitless in a way. And then seemingly with no reason, it's almost like the floor will fall through of that like emotion. And suddenly you'll be experiencing the opposite extreme where you'll start to feel very low, very hopeless. You will feel nostalgic for past places and people that you can no longer access or go back to. And it will feel really heavy. And you may even at times find yourself reaching out, either spiritually, energetically, or maybe literally, to some of those past individuals or those past places, finding that they either seem to have moved on without you or forgotten about you, or that they haven't been feeling the same way. And first of all, I'm getting that that isn't really the case, because again, I get so strongly that whenever someone has truly felt love from you, and I'm talking true, deep, open, vulnerable, soul first kind of love, when someone has felt that energy from you, it leaves an impression on them that they are never able to forget, regardless of how many days, weeks, months, or even years go by. A strong message coming through is, your love has never been lost. But another message coming through here as well is around these kinds of highs and lows that you've been experiencing. And what I'm hearing is this is all part of a greater process, a creative process. Now, what it is that you're creating is up to you and will vary from person to person, because you could be creating a business, creating art, creating a family, creating a relationship, creating or recreating yourself, your own identity in this world, creating your life. Whatever way this is interpreted for you, the highs and the lows are two sides of the same coin. What I'm getting is it's your ability to create so profoundly, because I get that you create things that leave impressions, whether it's words that you're speaking to others or things you're doing or things you're actually creating if you're an artist or a musician or a speaker or a writer. But what I'm getting is the things that you create hold power because you are closer to spirit than most people. And what I mean by that is because, of course, we all technically have equal access to spirit, to the divine, to higher wisdom, to our own inner wisdom. But what I mean when I say you're closer to spirit is you are someone who is very naturally spiritually open. And again, I feel this has felt like a thorn in your side so often because of how dense this 3D earth plane can be. But again, it's two sides of a coin because your spiritual and energetic openness does lend itself to having these highs and lows in your experience. I keep getting the word anxiety, so I feel maybe some of you have been feeling anxiety, or I'm getting like a hypersensitivity to maybe like your environment or physical sensations, or I don't know, something going on with your body. I'm not sure what it is, but I feel that there's kind of like waves of anxiety that sometimes get triggered within you due to hyper attunement or hypersensitivity to things that most people are able to gloss over or ignore. And one message that kept coming through earlier today so strongly is you feel everything that the world or the collective is repressing. And that can be very heavy at times. But it also means that you are transmuting so much energy on a collective level. You are, in essence, transmuting so much heavy, dense, lower vibrational energy into light simply by existing. It's almost like you are this natural filtration system on planet Earth energetically, where just by existing here, your being is taking in those lower energies and transmuting them into light energy. And I'm also picking up that there are certain things that you do that actually facilitate or speed up this process. So I'm hearing them called modalities. So this could be using some kind of instrument, maybe a musical instrument, maybe a tool, like an instrument defined as some kind of tool, some kind of outlet. I feel like there might be something that you actively utilize to transmute this heavier energy into light energy. And I'm just getting the message, don't underestimate your impact. But also another thing coming through is that you were not meant for the old way. The old way of doing things was built for those who are less energetically and spiritually open and sensitive. And I keep getting messages around you being able to optimize your life based on your strengths rather than your weaknesses. Not even maybe perceiving those parts of yourself that you've been labeling weaknesses as negative, but as the other side of that very powerful coin. Because you are one who is very psychically in tune, whether you recognize and practice that consciously or not. You're one who is very capable of interpreting energy, and that's really what we refer to as psychic. And the reason you're able to do this is because of that sensitivity. It's just that this world previously was not built for you. You are here to build a new world. And to build a world, to build a template, to build new ways of doing things that align with people who operate like you, of which there are becoming more and more, because more and more people are awakening and they are becoming more spiritually open and attuned. I feel that you were one of the first to be this way, to be this open, because you were born with a level of openness. But I'm hearing that you are going to notice increasingly that many others around you or that you encounter are becoming very spiritually open as well. And through these new ways of doing things, that you are cultivating new ways that align with your strengths rather than focusing on what you're perceiving as weaknesses, are going to benefit not only you, but those entire collectives that are beginning to open themselves up more energetically and spiritually as well. And in doing so, raising the overall collective vibration and level of consciousness of the planet. So when I say, I'm hearing emphasize your strength and de-emphasize your weakness. And what I mean by that is, I feel I'm speaking to someone who's very trapped in their head right now thinking, I can't do this, or I've always been this way, or I wish I wasn't this way. And I'm hearing that in this kind of self-talk, you are overlooking just how powerful your gifts really are. Because again, there are two sides to every coin here. Everything that you are referring to about yourself, that you are calling a weakness, has a strength on the other side of the same coin that you may be overlooking because you've been taught and trained to undervalue your natural strengths as this empath, as this spiritually awakened and open being that you are. You've been taught to see your strengths as valueless, or I'm hearing unmonetizable. Maybe people have told you there's no way to create a career or to generate income from your strengths or your gifts. Or maybe you were taught that whatever your strengths or gifts are were better kept as hobbies because, again, they would never really support you in the physical world. But I'm hearing that this was the greatest lie that you were fed. Not that most people feeding you this lie were doing so consciously, because most of them were just unconsciously reiterating what had been taught to them. But you are here as the one breaking that cycle by believing in yourself and believing in the power of the very gifts that you were taught to dismiss or deny or see as valueless, because ironically, the gifts that you believed to be useless or valueless all along have actually held the key. They've actually been the things of greatest value that you've had this whole time to share with the world. And I feel you're finally waking up to that. You're finally waking up to the knowing that those activities that you loved, those things that you enjoyed doing as a child, or even later on in your life that you were told were valueless or were just hobbies, all along those pulls to certain things, those interests that you had, they were actually your soul breadcrumbing you, leading you down this trail of breadcrumbs into not only a pathway of your own highest fulfillment in this life, but the pathway that ultimately would bring you the most success and abundance, however you define those terms as well. And the collective I'm picking up on here, I feel for a while, you attempted to conform to a quote unquote safe route that other people were encouraging you down, but it never felt right. It felt like you were compromising your soul for maybe some kind of return that you were getting that felt necessary to support you. But the beautiful thing is, on your path, I feel things have been shifting. There's a shifting sense of value, a realization that your true value lies in the things that you always loved, because those were the things that you were always doing while connected to your heart, which is the most powerful energy on the planet. And that all along, your heart was leading you down a pathway not only to fulfillment, but to holistic success and harmonious abundance as well. And the beautiful thing is, I see you following that path now, but feeling a lot of unknowns coming up as well. And that's natural because, again, you have been programmed to so utterly believe that those things about you that you are now, I'm hearing, most in love with about yourself, that you are beginning to hone in or develop more as skills or share with the world. Those things about you you were taught for so long held no value, that it's not an easy process to teach yourself the value of yourself, so to speak, the true value of your gifts, when for so long you've believed the lie. You've believed that these things held no value. And I just keep hearing the things that you felt held no value actually held the greatest value. And that is the massive truth that you are waking up to. And I'm hearing this is going to lead you powerful places, but it's normal that at times you feel these ups and downs in life. In fact, in a way, it's a sign that you are now more consciously tapping into your true power, because it's almost like you are carving out your ability to skyrocket up into higher levels of energy and vibration and consciousness. And yes, sometimes when you get out there in the dense 3D world, there's like a drop down from that. But that doesn't negate the fact that you reached a new height. I'm seeing your path almost in this non-linear way, which of course we always say healing is non-linear, growth is non-linear, but it's so true in your case, because I'm seeing these super high highs and super low lows, and then a higher high, and maybe somewhere feeling in the middle, and then an even higher high, and then a really low low. But I'm hearing the highs are getting higher, meaning your level of consciousness overall is getting higher. Maybe this is applying to literal metrics in your work where you're reaching new heights of success or accomplishment or achievement, but then at times dropping into these lower spaces. Well, that doesn't take away from the fact that you are still experiencing heights of newfound inspiration or success or movement towards your goals, or even happiness, fulfillment, self-love, connectedness, more so than you've ever felt before. And some of those lows are just the other side of that coin. It's all part of the process. That's what keeps reiterating through this reading. It's all part of the process. You're creating a new world for you, yes, but also for future generations, for many others who are beginning to awaken. And I really hope that this video has helped to provide some level of clarity or confirmation on your path with all of this. If so, I would love to hear from you in the comments section. It's difficult at times to find and sustain physical forms of community, although I do feel that's happening more and more for our collective, and that's a beautiful thing. But I can't put into words how much I value our community here on YouTube, because I know for myself, often reading your comments makes me feel so seen. And if I'm ever having one of those low moments myself, I like to open up the comments section, and I always find one of you saying something encouraging or uplifting to this community that brightens my day. And I hope that each and every one of you listening can have the same benefit from this space here on YouTube, that from either my videos or the comment section, you can find yourself feeling encouraged and uplifted at the times when you need it most. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of all of this, for, as I like to say, co-creating along with me, because from a quantum perspective, all these videos really are co-creations. Also, I wanted to mention, I've been sharing a lot of text posts lately on Instagram, very much in real time as I've had downloads coming through. So if you do want to follow me there, I would love to have you there. And my Instagram is @magnetizeyourself. I will also say, as an empath myself and someone who has been dealing with similar dynamics in my own life, I have found meditation, and specifically subliminal meditation, to be incredibly valuable on my journey. This is because as an empath, to manifest anything in your life, you have to create space for it energetically in your field first, and also rewire your whole energetic field to be able to magnetize in and receive whatever that manifestation is. And so much of that rewiring that happens has to happen subconsciously. So the reason I like subliminal specifically is they target the subconscious mind. And that's why I've found them so effective in my own life when it comes to manifesting, and also why I now share my own library of subliminals through my app. The name of the app is Sound and Soulful, and I'm so happy to say that it's now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. So if you would like to check out the subliminals I've created to help you along your journey, to help you clear your energy, stabilize yourself, and manifest in your life, then you can check out my app. You can search for it directly in the app stores, or I always leave a link to it directly under these videos in the pinned comment and also in the description box as well. There are so many subliminals to explore there, and I have created each one in 10 different background sound options. There's also a playlist feature, so you can create your own custom playlists, and personally, that is my favorite feature because I listen to my own playlists every single morning when I'm meditating. I find that it really seems to amplify my sense of peace and harmony and energetic stability while I'm meditating. And then throughout the day, I feel magnetic for my desires. So you can try it free when you create a 7-day free trial account in the app. I would love to know how it works for you to help you manifest in your life. Again, all of that information is underneath this video. Otherwise, I am going to go ahead and close this reading here. I am wishing you all a beautiful day. Take care of yourself, especially if you're feeling some of these highs and lows. Everything is going to be okay. I know that if you found this video, you might be in one of those low moments, but remember the highs, and remember, I'm hearing those milestones you've achieved lately, even if the milestones have been in terms of your level of consciousness, spiritual awareness, inspiration, creativity, because those milestones are actually the most important ones. And as you reach those heights of energy and emotion, that's naturally going to manifest and reflect in your physical life as well. So hold on to that knowing. And again, I hope this can be a space where you feel supported. I would love for you to subscribe if you do feel a resonance here. And I will connect with you here again in the next video.